the YouTube, and so we got YouTube, we got Facebook, we got Instagram, and I think the YouTube will just keep it, but maybe the Facebook and the anyways, I pay money for StreamYard, but I'm not using it as much as I thought I would. I thought I was going to do like fun stuff, like interviews and things like that, which I still should do. I absolutely still should do it, but it hasn't been. Family is busy. Family is really, really, really busy. I spend most of my time on my family, and so I don't have the time to go out. Anyways, we got questions and we got taste testing teas. So this one, we'll do this quick. This is the Camellia formosensis green oolong. This is the Camellia formosensis sort of red oolong. I'm just double checking. I got in that shipment today, so I'm double checking to make sure they're okay. This is the winter picked Four Seasons. This is the winter picked Four Seasons red. I'm checking these out. And then over here, I have a tea that I haven't had on the site for a while. People ask me for it every once in a while. This is the charcoal roasted acacia tree charcoal roasted oolong. Hey, how's it going? We got a teacher in the house here, but about an hour ago I asked for some questions. Everybody had some questions. There's a couple amazing questions that people asked. The first one was just briefly about caffeine content and the style of teas in the sense of oxidization versus the greener teas versus the other teas, things like that, which is relatively counterintuitive, I guess you could say. And then there's also the question, how do you choose teas based on your mood or on the way you want to do it, sort of your mood and these types of things. So we'll talk about those two questions while we're drinking these teas. And we talked about caffeine before, but it's so complicated. It's so complicated. And I'll start with a story. I think I told this story at a live a while ago, but I was sitting down and I got to go visit the guy and all of that. I've still got these beautiful tea balls sitting right over here. These beautiful half formosensis, half chin oolong type of tea balls, and they're absolutely beautiful, just spectacular, beautiful tea ball things. And I still haven't organized them, gotten them ready to be sold, but they're so amazing. They're so amazing. And I was there sitting there, and there was a guy who was helping out sell them because the farmer had a death in the family, so he had to stay back where he was. And the guy came up, and then somebody else came and said, "Does this have caffeine?" And he says, "Oh no, it's oxidized. There's no caffeine at all. You won't have a problem. You'll be able to sleep fine. You'll be able to. It's highly oxidized." And and I literally turned to him and I started saying the equivalent in Chinese of bullshit. I was like, and then I was like, and then I went on my rant. And the rant is something that I dislike so much about the tea industry is the whole it's a different industry, but the whole debate about caffeine. And so the most important thing that affects the caffeine that you are going to intake into your body, the most important thing to remember is caffeine is highly soluble, water soluble at high temperatures. So if you have hot water steeps for a long time, you're going to get blasted with a lot of caffeine right off the bat. So when I'm doing things like this, I'm getting blasted with a lot of caffeine. And why am I doing this? Why am I getting blasted with a lot of caffeine? Well, because caffeine, if the tea is not very good, right? So if the tea is not really, really, really good, then the caffeine will be quite explosive, mixed up with some other flavonoids, and you get this nasty bitterness, like a really gross. Everybody knows it, right? We all know the nasty bitterness, right? And I'm sorry here on the Instagram, it looks like it's not automatic scrolling. So I'll try and do that every once in a while. Make sure to automatically scrolls. But that is basically it. So I'll give you an example. And this is the easiest thing. If you're out there teaching, or if you are out there, somebody asks you this question and they say, I'm super sensitive to caffeine. Can I drink this? The first possible thing you say is test it out, right? Because everybody's different. The next thing you say is, if you're sensitive to caffeine, take the first steep, use boiling water for 1 minute, throw it away, and then keep drinking, and you'll probably be fine. You'll probably be fine. Because that's when the most amount of caffeine is extracted. And I don't have to drink the rest of that, which is nice because that's what it is. It's the wintertime pick. I'll drink this in a second. Then we'll get into evaluating these three over here. And so what you're looking at when you're looking at that, you know, especially when you're talking to somebody, that's what you do. Now, let's go into it. What affects the actual content, the tea content of the stream is a bit choppy. Yeah, it's okay. Let me know if that changes. Okay, so let me know if it gets better or worse, because I can just drop out of this and jump in again pretty easily. So if it's really choppy, then just let me know, and then I'll jump out and jump back in, because who cares? Let's do actual caffeine content. Okay, let's do actual caffeine content. When you're looking at caffeine, you have to remember that the tea leaf itself is like 2 to 3% caffeine. And the higher up the tea leaf you go, the more caffeine there is. So that means that like silver tips, honey fragrance black teas, these different types of teas, they're just the tops. Those are going to have the most amount of caffeine, because remember, caffeine is a defense mechanism for the plant. So the more a plant is attacked, the more flavonoids and the more caffeine you're going to get. So the higher up the tea plant you get. So the taller picks are just going to pound per pound have more caffeine. The lower down ones are going to have a little bit less. Now, caffeine itself is highly reactive. And so, like I said, to high temperatures. So what that means is if you blast it with hot water, you can extract that caffeine much faster. That also means surface area. We'll get to that in a second. Oxidization doesn't actually affect anything at all when it comes to the caffeine content. Doesn't affect it at all. So right here, we got two teas. If you tested these two teas, you're probably going to have the exact same content, right? So you're probably going to have the exact same content. Caffeine for these are both wintertime picks, or I hope they are both wintertime picks of the 4 seasons, sort of like the Daily Drinker 4 seasons. And I'm hoping, you know, that they're both wintertime picks and they're both really, really nice. And it's not going to affect them. What is going to affect them is roasting. So roasting. Okay, there we go. I'll drink that one again just to make double check. But those seem fine. I probably should have put them on the website last week. I forgot. those will go back up on the website soon. Because caffeine is highly reactive, what you're getting is the higher temperature you roast a tea and for longer, you're actually declining, you're getting the caffeine content of the tea to you're getting the caffeine content of the tea to actually sort of evaporate. And if you actually look, there's a couple, I saw it somewhere. Was it? I can't remember as it came through my feed, but the really old places over the years, they're roasters. So you've got the box of the roaster here, right at the top corner, there will actually be this white powder that will come up, and it will go up. Sometimes, like in the really old places, it'll go up on the on the wall and up into the ceiling and things like that. That's pure caffeine. And you can actually look up what pure caffeine looks like, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying. Pure caffeine looks absolutely terrifying. It's like shards of glass. It's like the same way, I don't know if you've ever seen MSG. MSG is terrifying to look at. It literally looks like pure MSG, looks like shards of glass. Hey, how's it going? So it looks like shards of glass, pure MSG. And so on YouTube there, let me know if the stream's choppy or how's it going. Some people were mentioning that. And so what you're looking at is it looks terrifying. It absolutely 100% pure caffeine looks terrifying. Same with MSG. Don't eat MSG. So MSG, 30 seconds. MSG came from Japan, and it used to be extracted from a seaweed, and now MSG is literally grown by genetically modified bacteria grown in feces. That's where MSG comes from. You can look it up. Genetically modified bacteria that's grown in feces poops out MSG, and that's what they use in food processing. Don't eat it. Anyways, roasting, but here's the key. Roasting only gets out, caffeine-wise, only takes out about, I would say, so hard to measure, but I would only say about, okay, let's just do a big range, 10 to 15%. So if you heavily roast a tea, you're taking out 10 to 15% of the 10 to 15% of the total caffeine content in the tea leaf when you're creating that. So there you go. So what I'm looking at right here, I have two, basically, hopefully the exact same things. When we drink it, we'll know. And these two teas they should have basically the exact same content. If this was made from the same thing, this is a charcoal roasted one, lightly charcoal roasted. This should probably have like between 6 and 7 pound for pound less caffeine in it because it's been roasted at a higher temperature. I hope it's been roasted at a higher temperature. We're going to test it. So that's what you're looking at when you're looking at caffeine. Now, let's get into personal tastes and personal people, because that's where the kicker is. And that's where, if somebody's asking you this question, and this will sort of go into the second question. If somebody's asking you this question, this is usually where it comes from, because, yes, literally poop. That's where MSG comes from, right? And so if you can find, I don't know, all natural seaweed. So like, this is MSG thing, but my wife, who is saintly, she'll actually put, sometimes when she's doing the like steaming rice, she'll actually put pieces of seaweed on top of the rice as you steam it, and then you actually get some of the sort of that MSG effect from various different types of seaweed. Anyways, let's talk about people, and that's where the key is. Gorgeous. This is beautiful. Now, this is a daily drinker, 4 Seasons. And this is, I've been steeping this for 15 minutes. It's the greenish oolong, and it's, worth the money. This is worth the money. So cheers to that. Yes. Haven't had this on the site for quite some time, but it will be on the site now. Worth the money. Okay, so let's talk about personalities and people. Usually when people are asking you about caffeine content in tea, it's because they have a reaction to caffeine content, and it's oftentimes quite a negative reaction. And sometimes it can make them sleep less, and oftentimes it gives them anxiety and all these different types of things. And for sleeping less, absolutely, that is a massive, massive, massive effect of caffeine. Anxiety, I would say that sort of making you feel sort of, like this. As somebody who drinks clean tea, a lot of it, I never get that feeling unless I drink dirty tea. And this might be the dirty secret of the industry. If you are getting sort of anxiety, or you're getting sort of the shakes or various other really negative connotations and feelings from your drinking of tea, my guess is you're drinking some really unclean tea. So Lipton tea bags, or milk tea, or something that's going to be laden with chemicals. And so what that is actually doing is it's your body reacting to the chemicals more so than your body reacting to sort of the caffeine. Now, it gets extremely complicated. Everybody's different. There's no way of describing it in the right way. And even, like, I'll give you an example, right? If somebody says, oh, if I drink caffeine, then it gives me, it makes me uncomfortable. Okay, well, where are you drinking it? Well, I drink it at work with a tea bag. Okay, well, how about this? I'm going to give you these tea leaves and, just put it in a pot and slow down and drink. When they drink that, they're going to have less anxiety because they slow down and drink their tea like that, right? So that's part of it, right? That's part of this whole, where does the caffeine and where does everybody's mix come in? So if you are somebody, say, for example, if you're an amazing teacher trying to help people calm down with tea, a lot of the practice in that is more so in getting them to, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. There's all of the snake oil salesmen that say, do these 5 exercises and you'll lose a bunch of weight. Okay. It's not the exercises. If you ever actually do the research into those different things, what they also say is eat clean food, maybe do intermittent fasting, stop sugar, da 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 da. So all the benefit those people are getting from their program is, I'm sure those 5 exercises are not that bad, but if you stop eating all of the crap, right? If you stop doing all of the horrible things that makes your body go bad, then it's just going to help you out. So a lot of the times, when you are doing these types of things, when you're creating these environments, you want to help people sort of relax with tea. A lot of it is sort of in the method. You got to sit down, you got to be mindful, you got to look at your stuff, you got to maybe take out your stuff, you got to have like stuff that you don't want to break, so you got to be careful. You're not like, oh no, I broke another mug. Like you got to be careful with all of these things, and so that's one of it's got to be much more of a holistic way of looking at it. The second thing would be, somebody's very sensitive to caffeine. The second thing would be very, 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 very careful about that first steep. So do the first steep long, do it for a minute or 2 minutes, and just throw it away. And that's going to knock back your total caffeine content by like 30%. Right now, I'm basically making up random numbers. I didn't even get into the whole testing thing because, how much caffeine do you actually consume depends on how you test it and how you brew it. And, there's no universal way for doing it, right? Because, like, for example, with coffee, you get a lot more caffeine intake because you consume more of the bean, whereas with you're not chewing on the leaves, like, right? Because tea has way more caffeine pound for pound than coffee, but you're consuming more of the bean with coffee. Anyways, it gets so complicated. Then you add into the fact that there's the caffeine and the theine, and they mix together, and then so that the caffeine doesn't do the spike like coffee does. It does more of the thing like this, right? So if you drink tea in the afternoons, you're much more likely to not go to sleep if you're sensitive to that type of stuff. And some people are like, oh, I don't have to worry about it. I drink coffee at 5 o'clock at night, or I'll drink a coffee before I go to. Everybody's different, but those are the things. And oftentimes, wow, that's not very good. Wow. Yeah, I'm sending this one back. I'll drink some more and see how it goes, but this is I don't think this is the wintertime tea. I think this is the summertime tea. And it's, well, you can see it here. I don't know, maybe the aftertaste is a little bit okay. But the pick of this, if you can see here, you can see it's hard to tell on that. I need a sort of a white background. But it's really cut up. The aftertaste is okay. All right, let's do another steep. We'll do another steep and see how it goes. We'll do another steep and see how it goes. It's not horrible. The aftertaste is actually pretty nice. The aftertaste is nice. The upfront is not exactly what I want, unfortunately. But let's try it again here. It's okay. It's okay. I will have a meditation on it. I'll drink it, and we'll see. I think it's probably okay. But Yeah, it's probably going to be okay. Pretty clean anyways, which is nice. To finish up the caffeine question, and if anybody has any other questions about the caffeine, throw it in the chats, in one of the various chats around here. But what you're looking at when you're looking at the caffeine is you really do have to ask the person. And my guess is if they're asking you that question, they've had a really bad time with a certain version of tea, and it's probably a really low quality version of tea. And they probably had a situation one day where they already had anxiety and they drank the bad tea and they couldn't sleep at night and they made it even worse. And it left them with a really sort of like, I have to be really careful about that because that was really bad. I have to be really careful about that because that was really bad type of experience. And in general, with the cleaner teas and the higher quality teas, you don't really have that problem. But everybody is absolutely 100% unique in every way. And so some people might not. It's okay. It's okay. Let's do the second steep in here and see what happens. I think I might be, I think this is just so good this year that I tried this and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We'll put the second steep on it and we'll make a firm decision. We'll make a firm decision. But this one's really nice. This one's gorgeous. Now, there was another question. Again, anybody else have questions about caffeine? Let me know. I'm not going to claim that I am an expert on caffeine, mostly because anybody who claims they're an expert on caffeine is lying to you because there's new stuff coming out all the time. I talk in generalities, and the generalities for that type of thing are, basically that's the way you do it. Now, we're going to get into this tea. And somebody asked a really good question. And they asked this question. No problem. If you have any other questions, just let me know about the caffeine. Now, the other question somebody asked was, how do you choose your tea? How do you choose a tea based on your mood? And how do you choose a tea to, like if you're feeling down, what tea are you choosing? If you're feeling like you're tired, what tea are you choosing? And all these different types of things. And, I was thinking about how to answer that question. And the first thing that I want to say as I attempt to answer this question is I have a relatively unique situation. And my relatively unique situation is I have access to hundreds of teas. And I also have access to hundreds of teas that I like, right? So I get to try a bunch of different teas, and the ones that I like, I gamble on and buy. And the other part of that is they're only Taiwanese teas. Now, there's a couple Chinese teas around for sure, right? So, I already had people saying, I want more of that 2017 show. And I'm like, sorry, it used to be up here and I sold it all. I had those baskets. I had 3 or 4 of those baskets and it's all sold out now. But that was just kind of fun for me because I wanted to see whether people enjoyed it and thought the same as me. And I guess they did. Great. Anyways, the point is, and it's a deep point before I get started in talking about this, is I have a relatively unique situation in the sense that I have access to many, many different types of teas, and they are all Taiwanese teas in general. And so when I am choosing the teas that I want to, consume, I have ready access to them, and they're all basically from one place. Now, the other thing, I often make the joke, and I hesitate to say it because this is Facebook, and I don't want to get zucked. But I always make the joke that I am a DRUG dealer, right? So I always make that joke, so I'm always like, it's the best DRUG in the world, it makes you happy. The side effect is maybe it makes you pee, and you just don't drink it in the afternoon or you might not be able to sleep, right? Best DRUG ever. And so, I truly believe that. And so, there are so many different things around and so many different types of teas that give you so many different types of really beautiful, experiences, right? And they really do. They give you just amazing, beautiful experiences. So many of them. Pretty good. I think I'm going to buy it. Oh, is it doing this now? Anyway, sorry. I think this is automatic thing. AI is going to be doing a lot more than that very shortly. I don't know. Maybe I should play around with some of the AI things that I've got going on in the live streams. Anyways, the point is, how do I choose? Oftentimes the teas just choose themselves, and it's a stupid thing to say, and I know it's like blah blah blah, like woo woo woo, but sometimes I try a tea, and then I absolutely crave it just every day. I just absolutely crave it every day. Like right now, I had these questions that came in, and I had these questions that came in, and I had these teas that came in. I thought, hey, somebody asked me a question about oxidization and caffeine, so I'm going to have these teas for the live stream. That's what I did, right? Because that was kind of fun. And truth of the matter is, I didn't actually want to drink these teas for this live stream. I didn't want to drink them. And not to say that I was like, I didn't want to drink them. I didn't want to drink them. No. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about this is I was craving these little brown bags of roasted goodness from Mr. Chen. So CY Chen. So I've got all these little bags, and I haven't had the time. It's been just an absolutely crazy time. But I haven't had the time to collect all the information that I need to get in touch with this wonderful, amazing tea expert, beautiful man, and really talk to him about this stuff. And I haven't had the time to do it. And so I've been craving this. So that's what I would reach for. Those teas are making me happy right now. Now, when you're choosing a tea to make you feel a certain way, there's all these different things you have to worry about. It all boils down to the self, but you've got the temperature, the weather, you've got how you're feeling in the sense of your particular mood. You've got, I find one of the things that's really important is setting time aside. Like, do you have a bunch of time to set aside, or are you just throwing this in a mug and you're like, oh my God, I'm so busy, I want to do it. Now, you also have to, so I'm sort of thinking on the go, but here we go. Ready? Let's do 3 different things. Sort of calming down, healing, and making sure that you're present, right? There's number 1. Number 2 would be pure enjoyment, just enjoying something. And number 3 would be work. So getting energy and things like that. So let's do those 3 different things. Start with work. For me, a lightly roasted tea or a high mountain oolong with a high oxidization is perfect for work. Because those are teas, you just put it in the hot water, you get a big thing, you put it in the hot water and you sit there and you drink it and you drink it and you drink it and you add more hot water. You don't add more tea. No, just add more hot water and you just drink it. And that's what I do when I'm doing a lot of work. So I'm just like typing, drink, typing, drink, go pee, come back, drink, typing. That's what I do, right? It keeps me hydrated, keeps me active. And those are the teas that I use for sort of the work. Again, light roast, highly oxidized, Those are the things I crave when I really, really, really want to work. The second one was pure enjoyment. Those are the teas that are, well, let me show you. I'll show you a pure enjoyment tea. Here we go. This tea I bought at the tea fair, and I've been looking at it, and I haven't brought it out, and I haven't drank it yet, but I'm happy to tell everybody about it. And maybe if people are interested in it, then you can let me know, and maybe I can get some. But this is a wildly expensive tea. And you can see it here. So this is the wildly expensive tea. And this tea is from a tea garden that I know quite well. I've driven past it and I've walked through it many times. And it's up on Chi Shan at the very, 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 very peak of Chi Shan. It's extremely high. And they take amazing care in creating very, very small harvests, and their harvests. So this was about 1,500. So to buy it from them, you're looking at like 30 to 50 cents a gram, and it's amazing. Like I go there and I'm walking by, and every year I know the people there. And I drink the tea, and I walk by and I drink it, and it's just like, like, oh my God. I sit down, I'm like, oh, this is going to be expensive, isn't it? And they're like, yeah, it's super expensive, and unapologetically so, right? It's just expensive tea, but it's just the pinnacle. So if I really want to enjoy something, like truly, truly, truly enjoy something, I'm going to pick the pinnacle. I'm going to pick the best of the best of the best, right? I'm going to pick the best tea you can possibly imagine. Just, like the CY Chen stuff, something like this, the Pear Mountain stuff, something like that, right? Something like that. I'm going to be picking those teas. I'm going to be sitting down and be like, oh, I'm so looking forward to this, like eating a cheesecake, for example. Like this is like, it's so expensive, and but it's worth every penny. And just as an aside, a funny story. I sit down. I'm like, they're like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "I sell tea," and they're like, "Oh, really? What do foreigners want with their tea?" And I said, "Cheaper price." And that's basically it, right? The market for teas of this level and this price is so tiny that it's. Anyways, it's tragic, right? And the way I explain it is like really expensive cheese. If you go to Taiwan, I import a bunch of really expensive cheese. Nobody's going to buy it, right? They might taste it and go, "Wow, this tastes amazing." I don't know, how much is it? Wow, and then they'd run away. And basically that's the way it is for a lot of tea in the Western market, unfortunately. And so my job is to bring the stuff that's, for example, this tea compared to this tea, I don't even know percentages. A lot more expensive, but we won't go into percentages. But all right, so this is the second steep of this tea, and it's okay. Yeah, it's passable. It's okay. Let's see what happens with the aftertaste. And it's okay. It's okay. Anyway, so that's the 2. So if I want to work, that's what I use. If I want to have, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. The aftertaste is there. It's okay. It's kind of nice. The second thing is the pure enjoyment. And then the third one is the healing, opening, calming down, those types of teas. And that's a tough one because everybody is different. In general, I would say the GABA teas are great for that. But you have to pick a GABA tea that's got the right amount of GABA in it, and you have to have people that are susceptible to that. I find that the tisanes the herbal teas are really, 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 really good for that. So you've got your, hey, you know what? It's not too long until the chrysanthemum, the small leaf chrysanthemum. It's only a couple more weeks. Hey, so anyway, small leaf chrysanthemums, the small leaf chrysanthemums, the blue lotus, some of the flower teas are oftentimes really, really nice for people, right? So people really enjoy the flower teas, and so there's those. Oftentimes work sort of and I wouldn't say all GABAs, but the Alishan GABA for sure, right? So the Alishan GABA works really, really well, and that's the hardest one because you have to know the person, and flavor is one of the most, what is it? There's that movie with the rat, Ratatouille, I think is what it's called. Anyways, I vaguely remember the plot of the movie, but I do remember one part of it where there's the guy who is the villain basically, and he comes in and he tastes the soup and he has to like the soup, and he tastes the soup and it takes him right back to his childhood. And so when you're looking at that third, right, that sort of the opening or healing or calming down or setting space type of tea, flavor is extremely powerful. So you have to know the person, right? So for example, if they've had bad experiences with Lipton, then don't use an Asamaka. In general, I would say don't really use an Asamaka. Does the person really enjoy sort of sweet flavors? Then you can try and get sort of a sweet, higher oxidized tea going with that. The GABA teas oftentimes can be love it or leave it. So if they're a leave it type of person for the GABA teas, you've got to be kind of careful, right? Because they'll be like, what is this tea? It tastes like sweet potatoes. And you'd be like, yeah, isn't that great? And they'll be like, yeah, so, also too, with that type of stuff, what I try and do is actually try and enhance feelings. Like if someone's feeling not so good and you want them to feel better, then I try and actually enhance their ideas. So for example, if it's a sunny day, then I'll use, there's a tea that went out with the subscription boxes, but I gave them to one of my son's teachers. And the reason I gave it to my son's teacher was because they were out of tea. They like drinking tea. They can drink whatever tea they want. But it was the osmanthus flower green tea. The last sort of fall days, it was sunny and warm. I'm like, drink this tea, and it's just going to make them even happier, right? And so that's what I wanted to give them to make them feel that way. Any questions about that? Yeah, I'll get in some of this too. This is pretty good. It's a fun, sort of more affordable charcoal roasted type of tea using the Jinchen cultivar. I've had it on the site before. And it's really nice and jumpy and bubbly and quite nice. Actually, quite enjoy it. This is the Acacia Roast Milk Oolong. And yeah, I'll get it. Little toasty up front, caramel in the middle, and then beautiful fruit aftertaste. It's nice. I'm going to get it. And relatively unique. It's a lower elevation garden, so it's a little bit stronger. So the flavor of the tea is a little bit stronger, but it's great. I enjoy it. So the GABAs for that, but make sure you have clean GABAs. So make sure it's clean. Make sure it's clean for that. $30 a gram tea sounds interesting. No, that's how much I pay for it, right? So you guys would have to pay more. I'd love to be able to just buy it and give it for, just give it out, but I do have to make money from it. But you can look yourself. Here's the Facebook. You can go and look at it yourself. That's the Facebook there. Cha Yue Lo, or Lo. What's the name of the place? Yeah, Mi Dong Cha Yue Lo. Lo. Oh, so the law is floor, the moon floor. So it's so high up they call it like on the floor of the moon, because they really are one of the highest mountains, and they have stuff that's comparable to the Fushoshan. Actually, they're very, very close to the Fushoshan area, and so there's stuff very, very comparable to that. And my guess is relatively the same cost. But you know what? I should just get some, because I think everybody should have access to that level of tea. And I haven't got that level of tea in the past, just because, like I said, the market for that is so tiny. But where is the market? You know where the market is? The market are the weird people that are watching some a little bit thinner, tiny bit thinner, bald guy drinking tea in front of his cell phone in Taiwan. You're the market. You're the market. So I'm only mildly overweight now. Before I was mid overweight. Still overweight, but if there's a market anywhere in the world for this style of tea, I'm talking to it right now. So I should. But anyway, so just to recap, how do I choose my teas? Those three things, right? Is it work? Am I trying to be either creative or working hard, things like that? Then I'm going to be using a mildly roasted or sort of low mid oxidized tea that I'm just going to drink, like just blast it and drink it again and again and again and again. The second one would be something for pure enjoyment. That's the pinnacle. So that would be like this tea, or that would be the Chen teas, or that would be the other types of teas. Then for the hard one, which would be the either healing or increasing mood or setting space or something like that, I find that the tisanes work really well. The GABAs work really well. And something that is going to be, that person, something that's going to be easy drinking, comfortable for them. So sort of a honey fragrance black tea. The red oolongs are awesome for that, right? So red oolongs, nobody hates a red oolong. There's nobody's like, oh, what's this? It hurts my stomach, or it tastes like grass. No. Red oolongs are like, oh, this tastes like tea, but it's so agreeable that there you go. So red oolong would be good for that, as long as it's clean. And but yeah, any other questions about that stuff? Just let me know. Yeah, any other questions about that stuff? Just let me know. And then and then of course there's the fourth one, which is sort of education or teaching, and then that just depends on the person. That just depends on the person. And there's no firm rhyme or reason to do that. Depends on the person, what they want to teach, how they want to do that, all that sort of stuff, education wise. But that seems about it. So I will definitely put these two Camellia formosensis, East Camellia formosensis teas on the website. I forgot to do it last time. I'll do it this time. This one will be up on the website, which is just sort of the Daily Drinker, 4 Seasons. It's a nice one. This one will be up on the website. I'll order in some more of this. And here we go. Let's just double check and triple check and quadruple check. Yeah, it's okay. The upfront isn't quite as good as I wish it would be, but the aftertaste has the sort of the Four Seasons-ness in it, and it's okay. And it's okay. But that's what we'll be doing with this stuff. And yeah. Last chance for questions. Do you have any red oolongs you prefer? Never heard of that variety. So red oolong would just be. So when you talk about a red oolong, generally speaking, you're talking about teas from the east side of Taiwan. So usually you're talking about something from Luye Taidong, Luye, so Luye, Luye. And there's also teas that are red oolongs from the other side of the islands. And those teas would be, usually they call them red water, hong shui oolongs, and they're not quite the same. So I'm not actually a big fan of the hong shui oolongs. I like more of an even oxidization. Those ones are about maybe 65 to 70% oxidized, whereas the ones on the East Coast are much warmer because they're like 80 to 85% oxidized. And they have much more rose, easier to pick out rose flavors and things like that. So that's what I prefer. For example, right now I've got to go get the wintertime Luye Red. Right now I don't have any of the Luye Red in stock, but there's still a bunch of the Jade Mountain Red Oolong in stock, and that's a good one. Like what I mean is like 85% oxidized. So it's warmer florals, sweeter red fruits, things like that. And so that's what I enjoy for the red oolongs. But you can look it up. You know, red oolongs are all over the place. But the most famous ones are from sort of the Luye area. And I think somebody mentioned this before. I'm not a big fan of the roasted red oolongs. I don't particularly like that. I like the unroasted, smoother red oolongs. I like those a lot better. But everybody's different, and you can choose the one that is right for you. You can choose the one that is right for you. Any other questions? Hopefully that answers your question about red oolong. And if you can find one with the big leaf oolong cultivar, those are usually the best. They've got the best florals. But like I said, I got to go visit them. So I'll probably go next couple of days and go visit and see if I can pull off something like that. Because I think that'd be quite a lot of fun to get a good red oolong. Yeah. So I guess that's it. You carry the best red oolongs. Well, thank you. I think that's probably true. Usually I'm relatively humble about it, but if something's going to be called a red oolong, I haven't tried any. The places where I get the red oolongs, like the Louis red oolong is from like this extraordinarily special and small terroir that, like it's the best. It's the best. But yes, I do pride myself on my red oolongs because I really enjoy them. But that's what I enjoy. So some people like the roasted red oolongs. Nothing wrong with that. Some people like the hong shui or red oolongs from the west side of the island. Nothing wrong with that. But the ones that I like a lot. Speaking of this one here, and it's fun. So this is the Camellia formosensis red oolong. And it's fun. Not really the florals, more of the Camellia formosensis is leaf litter. The green one is greenish leaf litter, and this one is like late October leaf litter. Right? So this one is mid-September leaf litter. I grew up in Southern Ontario anyway, so for me, everybody's different, obviously. But Southern Ontario green leaf litter. This is Southern Ontario mid to late October leaf litter. The sweetness of it and sort of the general flavor. But there we go. So can I catch you live? Yes. Students here love your teas. Well, students, and this is the key. Students love any tea that a passionate teacher gives them. That's a secret. That's the secret. And if you're a passionate teacher, they're gonna love your teas, and I am extraordinarily grateful you're using my teas. But you're passionate about tea, so it doesn't really matter all that much. They're probably all gonna enjoy the teas that you give them. Sounds like you're doing a really amazing job doing the teaching stuff. You're an evangelist, a hipster tea evangelist, and next you should start doing tea trips to various parts of the world. That's your next step, right? You get a tea travel company going. But that's always fun introducing these teas to people, because it's again the cheese thing. It's like you've only had Kraft single slices your entire life, and then somebody gives you a really beautiful melt in your mouth brie, and you're just like, what is this? I know it's cheese, but what is it? And that's extremely fun. Okay, so there we go. That's it. Have a wonderful night, evening, day, and all of that stuff for everybody out there. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next live stream.